Hello everyone and welcome back to another Batman miniature game 3rd edition Battle Report. Today for you we have 350 rep of the Teen Titans, although because of their rules they're much higher than 350 rep, but they get a reduction, versus 350 rep of Two-Face featuring the Grim Knight. But we'll go into more details about the crews as we get started, but thank you for the support shown on these videos. Please do continue to do so, and with that, let's get started. So a slightly unorthodox setup for the Teen Titans. It's not got the usual mainstays Donna Troy and Raven. The latter you can't really use because of the lack of 3rd edition rules for magic users. Yes, you can use the 2nd edition rules more or less, or fan-made rules, but just going to wait until there's some official rules. And it's just to try something a bit different. So they're being led by Dick Grayson Robin from the Teen Titans box. He is being backed up by a fellow sidekick, the other Robin. This is the Jason Todd Robin that isn't very good, but he is a sidekick. So the two of them both being sidekicks mean that there's only 2 inexperience points for the group, which in 3rd edition means that at one point 2 of them are going to lose 1 die from a roll they make. It's a little nebulous with the wording whether or not you pick or the opponent picks, but either way. So then we also have Beast Boy with his 3 forms of transformation. We have Hawk, Starfire, and Dove, and either one of them will get mad if the other gets taken out because they have true love each other. And here is the Two-Face crew. Two-Face will be starting on his twisted side for the game. That's already been decided upon, but he's obviously leading his crew. But he has Free Agent, the Grim Knight, with his many guns. Not sure how he'll do in this map because this map isn't a very vertical map, but we'll see. And then an assortment of gangsters, giving him, I think, only 1 blood money point, because unless Two-Face himself has the gangster trait, he does, two blood money points. So we have Gangster 3, Gangster 7, and then new on the table, Gangster 4, and then just to make up the points, we have Thug 5 from the Back to Gotham box. And altogether, this is exactly 1500 funding. So both teams are already deployed. The Teen Titans are on your left and Two-Face's crew are on your right. And it will be the Teen Titans taking first activation. We can go over who has Audacity for turn 1 in a second, but there is a Phase 1 card being played for Two-Face's crew. A classic, it's a diehard. It is being played on the Grim Knight, so there's a very high chance of him surviving a first round. So that's a good and probably easy 2 points for Two-Face's crew. Speaking of which, with that in play, 2 of the henchmen have Audacity. The Grim Knight has Audacity, and Two-Face is right down there with Audacity as well. They've deployed in a clump. One of the snipers is on basically the highest point on this particular map. It's a bit of a different playstyle when there's not as many buildings to stand on for Batman. And then Dove has Audacity, Robin has it, well, Dick Grayson has, we're going to have to differentiate because they're both just called Robin. And then Starfire and Beast Boy is starting the game in his Hawk form and also has Audacity, which basically gives him free reign over the entire board with where he can move to. So, let's get Battle Round 1 started. So Dick Grayson got the round started with Audacity. He sprinted forward, didn't even need his full movement, and he is an acrobat for some bonus as well. He got there and then he placed down his suspect marker using his detective trait so he can place and reveal within 3 inches in line of sight. So you hit it round there just so it's a bit harder to get to and closer to the lamp there, so anyone who does go for it will be illuminated. Thug 5 from the Back to Gotham box got Two-Face's crew's game started. He just moved up and basically copied Robin's turn. He put down his suspect marker and he didn't decide to fire his pistols because everyone is outside of 8 inches and he can only really see Hawk, so he's very far away. So he did nothing else, but he did keep up with the suspect markers. Starfire was next with Audacity. She activated Fly to give her 18 inches and she could basically go just over half the table, which she did behind that large cover there, and she also put down a suspect marker. Also, an interesting potential problem cropped up. What if during a turn, especially turn 1, it's the only turn that will really have a chance of happening, what if the Teen Titans roll absolutely no dice in turn 1? What if they all just hide and put down suspect markers? What happened to the inexperience points? There's no like penalty for not using them, or being forced to use them. It's a bit odd. Either way. Gangster 4 activated and he, with Audacity, moved up behind the rock, although he would have been close enough to Two-Face to get a free inspire anyway. He also put down a suspect marker, so it's still 2 apiece as far as those go. Beast Boy activated with Audacity, and in his bird form he can also use Fly, so he did that. and he has +4 to his normal movement plus his acrobat, so that's actually +5. I think in total he had 23 inches of potential movement. He opted to fly down here behind the tree and the bench and whatnot and put down a suspect marker. He's obscured. They would definitely have to move to see him, so hopefully he'll be safe, because the bird only gives him 2 ablative health, I think. The Grim Knight activated and he found a way to get line of sight on Beast Boy without cover being imparted. He used his back claw, he shot up here on top of the kiosk, giving him line of sight, and he has a rule called Walking Arsenal. He gets to pick how his weapon is configured for the turn. He picked Assault plus Red Dot, so that he could move without losing dice, but he's a -1 to hit instead. Beast Boy is an acrobat, so he spent 1 effort, giving him 1 stand damage, in order to remove 1 die from the dodging rule, which presumably still applies even for assault. But all said and done, 1 hit from it still went through. He didn't do too well with his roll, thankfully. So the 2 blood went through. The stun and 1 of those blood go to the bird form, which then makes him revert to his normal form. So his normal form takes the 1 blood. Dove activated with Audacity, and much like Starfire, she can fly, so she did so. She activated that, giving her 18 inches, more than enough to move over here behind this rock, very near that henchman, but obscured from the one that hasn't gone yet, so he would have to move, so he can't without Audacity shoot her. And she also placed down a suspect marker. Gangster 3 with his rifle did indeed activate, but without Audacity there isn't much he could do. He technically could have charged forward to maybe put down a suspect marker, thanks to being so close to Two-Face, who again is hidden down there. But instead he kind of positioned himself such that he's surrounded by 3 people, so if he gets attacked, he can take a shot. If he gets attacked, he can take a shot at them. It's positioning himself so that someone will be able to shoot somebody next turn. Hawk activated without Audacity, and all he did was just move up. He had 11 inches, but he didn't take the full because he wanted to cover from the potential sniper shots that could happen, because it is over to either the sniper up there or Two-Face, and then back over to Jason Todd to end the turn. And it is looking like the Teen Titans are going to get through all of turn 1 without needing to roll dice. So Two-Face activated, but there wasn't that much he could do. He decided just to move amongst his henchmen, and he didn't shoot at Hawk because his gun, well, besides also needing to reload after being fired, is 3 plus the strength die. He moved, so he'd lose 2. Hawk is in cover by the wall that almost comes up over his head, so that would take away 1, bringing it down to 1, and then he could exert effort to dodge the last die. So yes, he could make him have 1 stun damage, that'd heal at the end of the turn anyway, so it felt better to move Two-Face there, because even if Hawk and Dove attack together, there's still enough guns here that at least 2 are going to get to fire, so the thought is they'll do enough damage to make it worth it no matter who gets engaged. So with that, it is over to Jason. So perhaps expected, because he started the game base to base with a sewer grating in his deployment, Jason took it, and he's not messing around. He is overconfident after all. He has revealed himself through that sewer grating right there. Now, it's just that gangster to go. He can't see Jason. He would have the same issue shooting at Hawk as Two-Face would, because he's only rolling 2 dice. He'd lose 1 for cover, and then Hawk could get rid of the other one with dodging, because he's an acrobat. So he's probably not going to do anything and wait for his chance, but let's see. Yeah, that is just going to be the end of Battle Round 1. Very uneventful, but definitely set up for an exceptionally messy, one way or the other, turn 2. And there is some cards, not scars, being scored. A stick to the plan for the Teen Titans for having more suspect markers in play than Two-Face. They do. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 versus just the 2 in the end. Yeah, just 2 for Two-Face, so that's 2 on the board for them. But Two-Face, of course, has scored the Die Hard for the Grim Knight being perfectly fine, so that is also 2 points. So with that, let's go into Battle Round 2. See if any cards are being played in Phase 1 and Phase 2 of it. So top of Round 2, there is no cards being played in Phase 1 or Phase 2 for either side, but we can at least take a look at where Audacity is, and it will be the Two-Face crew taking first activation, which doesn't bode well for whoever the Grim Knight decides to shoot at. But Hawk has Audacity for the Teen Titans, Jason does, Beast Boy does, and he's transformed into his tiger form, so he has 3 blade of health now, and Starfire right at the back there also has Audacity. The Grim Knight's got it for Two-Face's crew, Two-Face does, the henchman with the dual pistols does, because he can rapid fire, and then this one with the pistol as well also has rapid fire, because the sniper up there probably won't need it if he just decides to fire from there. So, things are going to get messy. Let's get started. So the Grim Knight did get the round started for Two-Face. He shot his assault red dot at Beast Boy, who did exert one effort to use the dodge again, and as you can see, 2 hits got through for 4 blood. So the Tiger did have 3 ablative health, so 1 was absorbed but for the effort plus 2 of that. So Beast Boy is taking 2 blood. With the 1 he already has, he's at 3 out of only his 4 endurance. He's very weak when he's not in an animal form, and he can't transform into it until the next turn again now, so he's basically useless. And for Two-Face's crew, the Grim Knight has scored heads or tails because he started on the twisted side. A friendly model inflicts at least 4 damage on an enemy model that has an audacity marker. He did exactly 4 damage. I don't know whether you would count the self-inflicted damage or not, but luckily it doesn't matter in this instance. So he managed to do something. Then for a move, he went back here because that means anyone who jumps up after him will be in line of sight of snipers. So Jason Todd, who was adjacent to that sewer grating, activated. He used his back claw to flip up over the side of the building and attack in the back the poor sniper here with his bow staff, which only does single blood. It's a little weird, but he did manage to do 5 blood, all said and done, to the poor sniper who just kind of took it, but it didn't kill him. He's got 6 HP, so he's actually alive on 1. He's basically screwed for firing the sniper rifle, but yeah, he's alive. And also, thanks to the handyman role, Jason has a free manipulate that he can do, or that you can actually do 2 in a turn if you wanted to. So put down a suspect marker just because, and he did also score They Won't See Me Coming for dealing damage to an enemy that didn't see him. So it's only 1 point, but at least he did it, and he didn't need to take the guy out. Gangster 4 activated, and first of all, he started here next to a suspect marker. He converted it into loot using the valuable commodities card. So you reveal one of your own suspect markers, it becomes loot. The model that revealed automatically picks it up, which he did. If they're holding it or another ally is holding it at the end of the game, this will score, but it's in play now, so that'll be on his card in a second. He then moved so that he was still within 8, so that high caliber kicked in, so that the strength die was the last one to get removed. Rolled the strength die for the single shot against Dove, who is not an acrobat. She is agile, but she's not an acrobat. Did 2 damage to her. Simple as that. Obviously he's still in danger range, but he might lure some people over into the many guns waiting on this side of the table. Starfire was next up with Audacity, and she did start over there, but she used Fly, and unlike Back Claws, Fly can be used every turn as long as you have a special action. She flew her 18 all the way downfield right here into base to base with Thug 5, and she has Steel Hands, so her unarmed attacks do triple stun and push. She walloped him good for 9 stun damage, which is way more than required to instantly just floor him, so he is knocked out and will not be getting a turn, and has also scored a They Must Know Pain for inflicting at least 6 damage of any type in a single melee attack. Two-Face activated and did decide to fire his Tommy gun this time against the target who doesn't have Acrobat. He moved into the little pond here, he shot at Dove, and because of high caliber he didn't lose the strength die for moving and shooting, but he didn't do too well with his rolls, honestly. So 1 got through for 2 blood, 1 stun. She is hurting. That's her on 4 of 6 blood now, I think. So she is in danger, but not as good as it could have been. That could have been him taking her out there. Hawk activated with Audacity, and he charged in against the carbine using Gangster there. And the Gangster didn't exert any effort. However, an inexperience point was used to make Hawk lose a die, so he efforted to put it back in. And as you can see, 3 hits got through for 6 stun. That's enough to KO him, so he's also not getting a turn, and it did score just for a quick 1 point. A dirty job for making an enemy model KO or a casualty. So thanks to 2 henchmen being knocked out, the only person Two-Face had left was the sniper up here that Jason almost murdered, literally. So, and he couldn't fire his gun because it's aim and he's in base to base, and if he did get a punches through, they'd be doing 1 stun, which is nothing. So he suffered impaired movement to jump down another level of the building and simply stay there. So that does mean that Dove without Audacity and Beast Boy with both get to activate. Sorry, even Dick didn't activate either. He doesn't have Audacity, but still, they'll all get to do something. So stuck in his normal form without Audacity, there wasn't much Beast Boy could do, so he just moved 11 inches round the corner there, heading towards a potential heal from Dove. And he was the last with Audacity, so Dick and Dove are just going to move probably, so we'll just quickly do those at the same time and then show you where they end up. So for those 2 turns, Dove has simply moved towards Beast Boy, and that's as close as you could get. And then Dick kind of went round like this in order to end his turn in base to base with this suspect marker here, but he did nothing else because, again, didn't have Audacity. So we'll see if there's any final phase of a turn cards to be played, and be back. So at the end of battle round 2, it is not good news for Two-Face's crew because the 2 henchmen who are knocked out did not wake up. So they're not getting up. I don't think there's anyone on the Teen Titans who can arrest them, but they're not getting a turn. And also Two-Face and the man holding the loot down here can't fire next turn either because they fired in this turn. In terms of cards being played in the final phase of a turn, the Teen Titans score another stick to the plan. Have more suspect markers in play than your opponent, and the opponent is down to 1 because of the loot. So that was an easy score for them. Everyone who is conscious with stun damage has healed 1, so I think that was Dove and Beast Boy. And with that, we're ready to go into battle round 3. So, top of round 3, the penultimate round, and Two-Face's crew will be getting first activation again, which could be very important for them with their 2 men knocked out. There is 1 card being played in phase 1 of the turn, and is the Die Hard for the Teen Titans side, and is being played on Jason because he is out of line of sight of quite a few people. He's an acrobat, so he can dodge, and more importantly, he's at full health because of someone like Starfire. She's surrounded by too many guns, and the Grim Knight still has ammo, so it may not last, but it is being played. You can see who has Audacity. Everyone who's conscious for the Two-Face crew has Audacity, and for the Teen Titans it's everybody except Beast Boy and Starfire. That's their problem in 3rd edition, I think. Like, you want them all to have Audacity because they're all good at something, but you don't have enough to go round. And Beast Boy is in his ape form to give him as much ablative health as possible. So once again, the Grim Knight got a turn started. He activated his back claw. To zoom down here, he used Assault from his Unlimited Arsenal, or whatever it's called, for Assault plus red dot, so he could reroll a ranged attack die, and doesn't lose any dice but is -1 to hit. On Dove, he got 3 hits through for 6 blood. She is very dead, and that started a cascade of using one of Two-Face's cards, Time Bomb. A friendly model KOs or removes as a casualty an enemy model within 4. That's why he backclawed, so that he was within 4. Then place an explosive template centered over 2 different suspects. Doesn't specify enemy suspect markers or allied suspect markers, so presumably it means both. Every model fully or partially under the explosive template suffers 1 blood, then remove the explosive templates and the suspect markers. If you inflict damage on an enemy model with one or both of these explosive templates, score this card. This suspect marker exploded. 1 damage to Starfire, 1 to Dick, and 1 to the unconscious. Actually, would that be an additional 1 because he's knocked out? Don't know. Either way, him as well. It just missed Hawk, so it didn't catch him. And then presumably you're allowed to pick enemy suspect markers, so this one also exploded to deal 1 damage to Jason, and they'll be removed now along with putting the blood on their cards. And that is 2 victory points and 1 less Dove on the field. So the man with the price on his head, Jason, activated, and he placed a suspect marker with that other one having explodinated, and it has become a snitch, which we've seen many times before. So at the end of the turn there's an enemy model within 4 of it, which is quite difficult up there on the building. It will score for a massive 3. He then suffered impaired movement to jump down, although actually he's an acrobat, I think, so that wouldn't have been impaired movement, but either way it doesn't matter. He used his bow staff again on the sniper who did have Audacity. He did 4 damage, much more than enough to make him a casualty. So Two-Face activated, and keep forgetting this Two-Face is pretty good in combat. He's got okay stat line, and he has reinforced gloves by default, which does make up for, totally forgot this Two-Face is also an expert marksman. He should add +1 to his rolls when he was shooting at Dove. I mean, she's dead now already anyway, but well, that was totally forgotten. So went after Hawk with an experience points. He had 1 die taken away, and as you can see, he did 6 stun, which is exactly how much willpower he has. So Hawk is knocked out, and another heads or tails has been scored by Two-Face. Friendly model inflicts at least 4 damage on an enemy model that has an Audacity marker. Actually, doesn't he also now get to do a heads or tail roll on whether or not he just insta-kills Hawk? Hang on a second. Yeah, he totally does. It's a heads or tails, so we're going to do 1 to 3, Hawk dies, 4 to 6, he lives. He is alive, so he's just knocked out. Carry on as normal. Dick Grayson, gotta specify when there's 2 Robins on the field. Dick Grayson activated with Audacity, and he ran around the car here after the guy carrying the loot. He's also using the not that great devastating 1 blood bow staff. It's got a handy on it, but still. Either way, all said and done, he got 2 hits through for 2 blood, so he is still standing. Also, he is facing that gun down and is pointing right at his forehead. Dick's been shot in the head before. I don't think he'd want it happen again. So as he is utterly unable to fire his gun because he's reloading at this turn, the gangster that Dick went after chose to run away as fast as he could, which isn't very far, it's 8 inches, he got round the corner there. He's holding on to a loot, he is not close enough to the snitch, and due to everyone else being unconscious still, that was the last activation for Two-Face in this turn, so Starfire without Audacity gets to do something, and then Beast Boy with Audacity gets to do something, although sadly with the removal of Dove, he can no longer be healed, so he's probably not going to last the last turn, but he gets to do something this turn. So without Audacity, Starfire just stood still and fired Death Rays at the unconscious thug. She did 3 hits through for 6, plus 1 extra from each successful hit because he's knocked out for another 3. More than enough, like without even the extra, more than enough to murder him. He is gone, the Teen Titans don't take prisoners, and that scores a dirty job for taking a model out as a casualty. So Beast Boy ended off the penultimate turn by charging the Grim Knight, who's been spending the entire game shooting him in the face, and also during his turn, as a resource, Disturbance was played because it's free to block a Surgring. It doesn't matter, it was to get out of the hand. If you're ever wondering why something is played where it doesn't really matter, it's to clear it from the hand. So anyway, he attacked, he lost a die due to inexperience, and did not get through because he also lost a stun die to the Grim Knight having bat armor. So that's it, that is the turn over, we'll be back with the cleanup. So that was a high scoring round and a high casualty round. Well, high scoring for the Teen Titans, they caused a lot of casualties, so high casualties for Two-Face's crew. And also, because Jason survived, the Die Hard scored for 2, and nobody is within 4 of the snitch, so that also scored for 3. 5 victory points. Hawk woke up from being unconscious, but so did the gangster, so they are both conscious and knocked down. And with that, the loot is also still in play to potentially score in the final turn, which we're going to go into now to see if any cards are being played in Phase 1 or Phase 2. Top of the final battle round of the game, and it will be Two-Face's crew for a 3rd turn in a row getting first activation. No cards being played by either side in Phase 1 or Phase 2, and I believe every single person on the board, with the exception of Beast Boy who has stayed in ape form, has Audacity. So with that, let's get things started. He's been doing it the whole game, so why break a habit? The Grim Knight activated, he backed off using his Assault Red Dot with the last of his ammo. He shot into Beast Boy. It did 6, 3 of it was absorbed by the, or 4 of it, sorry, was absorbed by the ape form, but the rest going through was enough to kill him because he only had 1 health left on his basic form, and it did 2, scoring a quick catch a bullet for 1 victory point, and removing 1 green gentleman from the field. Starfire activated with Audacity, she used Fly to give her more than enough movement to come over here after the gangster with the loot, punched him with her steel hands, 2 hits got through, and that was despite losing a die, and did 6 stun, more than enough to knock him out. So the loot has been dropped, and also, as I drop the card, excuse me for a second, there we go, also scored a dirty job for making him a KO or a casualty for 1 victory point. Two-Face activated and first of all beat Hawk back into unconsciousness. He only needed to do 1 damage. I actually forgot to put the damage visible that he did. He did about 6, I think it was. Either way, much more than enough to re-knock him out, which means we get to roll for judgment again. 1 to 3, he is dead. It was 6 again. So he's actually just unconscious, but for making him unconscious again, either way, he did score a dirty job for 1 victory point. He then retreated over to there because he couldn't reach the loot and still be safe because the 2 Robins can attack him still. So he retreated over there, and with that it is over to one of the 2 Robins because now Hawk isn't getting a turn either. And yeah, and that's it. Jason activated his back claw because remember last time he just dropped down with impaired movement, or not because he's an acrobat. Either way, he could use his back claw again. He shot over here, he put down his suspect marker, and it is a snitch again, which is basically an insta-score because the only person left to go... Well, actually, no, that's not true. If he just chooses to... Oh, he's knocked down, though. He'll suffer impaired movement. He probably won't have enough movement left to get within 4 of that. Either way, it's him to end the game for Two-Face, and then, well, Dick might not even do anything if there's nothing to do to score. We'll see. So the gangster couldn't get close enough to the snitch, so all he did was deny any potential kill cards. He stood up, walked to the Surgraying, transported himself over there, and that is ending the game because Dick down here can't do anything. He could go pick up the loot, but it doesn't matter, it's not in enemy hands, so that means the loot does not score for Two-Face, it's discarded. The snitch that Jason put down will score for 3, and also in the final phase there is the final stick to the plan for 2. So I believe this is a very comfortable win for the Teen Titans, but let's make it official. They're on the left, so 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 19 playing 10, very comfortable. Obviously both sides suffered a lot of casualties. The Teen Titans are tough. I don't think the two-face deck is very good. There was just a lot of unlucky draws. The only reason the Teen Titans didn't score more instantly is their final hand was basically all reveal enemy suspect markers, and Two-Face's crew did not have the time or the means to put them down after the first turn because they wanted to shoot. Didn't get as many opportunities as they could, except of course for the Grim Knight, who did actually manage to get through all his 4 ammunition, shot Beast Boy 3 out of the 4 times, eventually took him out by getting the hits through when it mattered. So he did okay. I feel like he was doing the right things. He was responsible for, what, 2 of those cards that they scored? He did okay. Could have done better, for sure. The Teen Titans rushing was definitely the optimal strat with so many guns on the field. Just get into close combat and make them pay. Anyway, that is going to conclude this. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do show your support. And see you next time for some more crews. Until then, ta-ta for now.